Hi, hola, hello. My name is Terry, and welcome to GMS, the Good News Mental Space. And joining me right here, I do have Joy. She is a therapist, she is a life coach, she is a businesswoman. I mean, all that just for one person. Please help me welcome Joy. Hi.
Hello everyone, my name is Joy Eve and I'm a therapist with Good News Mental Space. Thank you.
I just love how calm you are. You know, you're just so collected. I love it.
Okay. Thank you.
Tell us about, by the Good News Mental Space.
All right, so Good News Mental Space is a safe place where basically we do therapy.
Okay.
We have different therapists that are in that space. So basically, it's a space where we give people a space to talk, a space to grow, a space to heal. And basically, we use the concept and the principles of grace to help people heal and to get better. Yes.
We're going to be talking about grace a lot in this conversation and moving forward, because I think it's a beautiful aspect when you bring mental health and grace to it. A lot of times we just, especially right now in our society, we just talk of, I'm not okay mentally and all that. But when you add the aspect of grace, it becomes different. And that's all about Good News Mental Space. We're going to be having great conversations, by the way. We're going to be even having business people, right?
Yes.
I can't wait to hear, because sometimes you just think business people are out there doing their own things. And then when you add the aspect of grace to it, how as children of God they're out there and doing business, adding the aspect of grace, it's really important. But before we even get to our conversation, Joy, have you always wanted to be a therapist, by the way?
I think I told somebody that I've been raised in an environment where my parents were not necessarily into doctor, lawyer career kind of. It's all about talent. So when they see you're gifted in something, they'd encourage you to actually go into that specific line.
Yeah, amazing. Let's talk about the aspect of grace to this whole thing, because I think I remember the first time I met you and you spoke about grace. The way you spoke about it, it was with a lot of passion. I was like, this is really interesting. How do you bring grace and mental health, to the same space? All
right, so basically it's really about understanding what mental health is, and it's basically the aspect of taking care of your mind, your emotions, your belief system, and also your behavior. So basically grace is that aspect of unmerited and deserved favor. So being able to give yourself that aspect of undeserved favor empowers you to be able to feel well, to think well, and to be able to believe well. So that aspect empowers you even in different aspects of your life, if it's career, if it's business. So that's how now grace comes in.
So how did Good News Mental Space come about? Where did it begin, really?
All right, so you need to know that Good News Mental Space is a community-based organization. So initially it started from the need for a space, for Christians, mostly because it's a Christian organization. So one of the things that happened is that I felt that a lot of Christians don't actually feel like they can have like a space where they can be able like to have a professional therapist who doesn't judge them, but then also a space that's Christian based. So like I think one of the things I observed is that a lot of pastors go through a lot of stress, depression, but also don't have a place where they can trust that they can actually have professional help that's actually Christian based. So that's where Good News actually came from. It came to actually give Christians a space to be able like to get professional help, but still also feel like this is our environment. We are sharing a similar faith, and especially the faith of encouragement and the faith of grace. Again,
we said we are going to mention a lot of grace in this channel. And I don't know what grace means to you, Joy, because a lot of times you talk of unmerited favor. For you, what does grace really mean?
So for me, grace means life. Grace means hope. I think also grace means undeserved favor, because I think most of the times in mental health, or when it comes to people who are going through depression, anxiety, what happens is that they really they don't give themselves undeserved favor. They feel like because you've done something, you deserve to feel bad about it, you deserve to feel anxious. So grace empowers you to be able like to just forgive yourself and be able like to also receive the things that you feel like you need to receive and without deserving. And especially because it's a Christian space, mostly we talk of Christ. So Christ took that space where that thing that makes you feel undeserving, Christ took that so that now you can be able like to take everything good that you deserve, including proper mental health.
Which is really important. And I love what you're saying, because especially right now when we are having such tough economic times, just trying to survive and navigate around it, sometimes you can be really hard on ourselves, especially for men, you know, trying to be the provider in the home, trying to, you know, find a way to ensure that the family is well catered for. Sometimes you can be really hard on yourself, and that is where grace comes in.
That's why grace comes in.
And I love that. I love the fact that we can talk about mental health and still talk about the aspect of grace to eat. So how has the response been in terms of, you know, putting Good News mental space out there? Are people responding positively to it?
Surprisingly, people have really been responding very positively to Good News mental space. I think grace empowers the mental space to be a space where there's no judgment, you know, and the fact that, you know, grace is undeserved, meaning nobody can actually judge you when you come in. So we've been having responses even from Muslims. We've been having people who are not necessarily Christians, but it's like somehow grace has empowered, you know, Good News to be a space where people feel at peace. You know, they feel at home. And it's interesting to hear that even Muslims can come around and still receive positivity from this whole thing. But also, I'm curious to find out, how about us as Christians? You know, how is the response? You know, sometimes you pretend, you know, me, I'm fine, me, I'm good, I don't need to talk to anyone. How has that been as well? I think the fact that people come into our page and they can see that aspect of encouragement has really made Christians even come forth and most of all feel comfortable being able to reach out. Sometimes there are people who just come in and say, I don't want any scriptural help, but I feel like this is a space where I can relate with and I feel comfortable getting a therapist in this space. So there are some who come and like, I want to be able to talk about God with a therapist. So we're like, this is the space where you can actually talk about God and get even like encouragement you need, you know. So it's really been good. I mean, so many Christians are actually coming out, and we're really, I think we're really, really humbled with the response that we've been having.
We headed the right direction, considering we're Africans and taking up even having therapy sessions. It has taken us such a long time, but we are coming around with that, and that is why Good News mental space is there for such things. And so if you're watching us out there, I mean, this could be your time, this could be a moment by the you've been struggling with that thing, you know, and you're thinking maybe you want to reach out, this would be good. So how has Good News mental space managed to spread out?
All right, the good thing is that we've been getting responses even continent-wise. So we basically have branches in the whole of different counties in Kenya and also in different countries, especially in Africa, Uganda, Tanzania. So Good News has really, let me say, that aspect of grace has really spread. So many people are responding to that aspect of grace in therapy to the point that everyone just wants a bit of it. So I think maybe that's why we really need to be able like to, you know, talk a bit about how it's important.
I know a lot of people reach out, and you've talked about different continents as well. But when it comes to a common struggle that most people who reach out, what have you noticed as a therapist?
All right, so grace, Good News mental space is really a Christian environment. So and grace connects with identity, knowing yourself connected to Christ as an identity. So most of the things that people come with and they're struggling with is majorly identity. Being able to know, being able being unable to know who you are, and so causing all the things that are actually happening. So I think majorly the root of most mental health issues is really that aspect of identity. Yes.
Yeah. And we find it more common even in our society right now.
Yeah, definitely.
We are seeing a lot of people trying to, you know, just go a very different direction where you can just see there's an identity crisis.
Yeah, definitely.
You know? And I love it because all this, we're bringing it back to grace.
Yeah.
You know, like the way we began. And I told you, I mean, we're going to be talking so much about grace. And I don't know what it means to you. You can tell us in the comment section what grace means to you as well. But just balancing grace and, you know, mental health as well. Why grace at the end of the day? You know, you could have chosen to talk of favor, talk of, you know, other things, but why grace at the end of it all and combining it with mental health?
All right, so I'm going to mention something, you know, the Word of God, of course, because Good News is really majorly a Christian space. So grace is Christ. Grace is Jesus Christ. So, because the Word of God says Christ came full of grace and truth. So, majorly, grace comes in with the true identity, with the truth of who you are. So that's why grace is everything, because our identity, even as a Christian, is majorly connected with Christ, with grace. So most of the times I tell people, you're not necessarily defined by this, you know, circumstances or whatever is happening in your life. Allow yourself to be identified by grace. Grace is really Christ. So as he is, so are you. So when we start from there, then it actually empowers you to be able to know, okay, fine, you're going through depression. Yes, we will not refuse the fact that there is depression. But as a Christian, what does grace say about you? Grace says that you're free from depression. So let's now dwell on the fact that you're already free from it. Yes, we will not ignore the fact that you are going through whatever you're going through, but now grace tells you who you are. So if we can be able to heal people with grace, it just frees everybody from mental health, every other issue. So that's why it's grace. That's why grace.
That's beautiful. I can't wait for us to have a lot of conversations, of course, around grace, and to have also testimonials as well. People who have gone through, you know, and they can say for sure, I've seen grace work in my life, and now that they're okay, you know, I can't wait for us to have those conversations. So join us on this beautiful journey of Good News Mental Space, and we're going to be having great conversations. We can't wait to also hear from you as well. You get to tell us your story, tell us if this is something you'd want to join in as well, because we want to have as many people as possible and have a healthy society as well, so that we can be fruitful. As we were told in the Bible, you know, be fruitful, multiply. We want to be fruitful.